It's a beautiful morning to be at the railway trestle at mile 25 on the E&N Railway's Port Alberni subdivision. This is just above the city of Port Alberni, roughly above Coombs Country Candy at the east entrance to the town. Nice and peaceful here today.
So I'm driving west on Highway 4 in Hilliers. I'm on my way to the Port Alberni summit where I'm going to do a hike on the railway. This is going to be an out and back hike starting at Loon Lake Forest Service Road. That's about mile 22.2 on the E&N Railway's Port Alberni subdivision. I'm going railway west to a turnaround at around mile 25, which is just west of a nice timber frame trestle. And my oh my, the morning sun behind me is lighting things up nice. Getting ready to start the Port Alberni summit climb here on Highway 4 westbound. Up above in the clouds is Mount Arrowsmith. So the railway is up above on the right hand side, and because we're climbing we are getting close to railway level. Kilometer or less away from our turnoff on Loon Lake Forest Service Road. Loon Lake is a really popular area for recreation and a popular place, maybe not anymore, for boondock camping, and it's right here. To the left is another Forest Service Road, probably also Loon Lake, Maine, that's got a mosaic gate on it. But this one is not gated yet, thankfully. It's a very quick little access here to the railway. Come around the corner and the railway will be right here. You can't see it, it's not signed and it's covered in. Okay, 6 a.m. at Loon Lake Forest Service Road, a level crossing. That's looking railway east. I went there last time I was here. And here we go, railway west. This is a popular recreational area. And right now it's a lovely, quiet area for doing what I enjoy. Walking on the railway. Some spring growth of the green around here. Some grass and ferns. And up ahead there's more green growth or evidence. Walking through on summer solstice day means I'm going to see a whole lot of grass and ferns and leaves on the trees. Coming up to the mile 23 sign. Mile 23, looking west. Okay, for the next little bit, I have nice rock cuts, cliff areas, lots of moss on them. Yeah, it's a pretty area, that's what I'm trying to say. I got the sounds of some flies, mosquitoes, and the sounds of birds. I prefer the sound of birds. I've also seen 4 or 5 piles of bear scat so far, so I'm being careful with that, making noise as I walk,
helps because I talk to myself, not just when I'm vlogging like right now. Well, I made the correct choice this morning wearing gaiters just because of the height of the grass. A straight stretch here, and then we'll be at the site of the former trestle at mile 23.9. There's two of those. I've explained those in earlier videos where there were a couple generations of wooden trestles across the ravines of 4 Mile and 5 Mile Creek. And in 1971, instead of rebuilding them another time, they decided to change the route of the railway slightly, have it curve or hug the slope, and with a tight curve. So there were 2 line diversions done that are interesting to walk through because they are really tight semicircles, the kind that the wheels of trains would be squealing on. Makes for interesting walking. Knowing the history, I always enjoy areas of line revisions and finding the original route area. Here's a lovely shaded area with some grass growing. Actually makes it quite photogenic with the tree tunnel up ahead. Good time to stop and make a photograph. Okay, lovely to walk in this shady area here around mile 23.7 or so. This nice tangent track. This will be a beautiful scene in October, mid-October, for the leaves. Put that in my memory banks to remember to come back here. October is a tough time for landscape photographers. I mean, it's bountiful with lovely fall color views, but those things are so unpredictable in terms of weather and wind. You know, you want the leaves that perfect color, but before they all fall off the trees. Autumn 2021 will be my 3rd autumn doing this, so part of it is looking back places I've been before and which ones have I captured in all the autumn leaf glory, and maybe try some other ones this year. Feels like I'm walking through a farmer's field with all this lovely spring grass. Gotta be careful, make enough noise, so if bears are munching on the grass, if that's what they do, that I am heard. So if I went straight, I'd be going on the old pre-1971 track across the trestle. But this is 2021, 50 years later, and we're curving to the right. So I would have just gone straight through there to the left of the rock mound. Again, this begs for a photograph. Okay, through there is the original line. Rails and ties removed. This is nice. I love a rock cut like this. Alright, I got a deer up ahead. Always gives me a bit of a start when I see a tan animal up ahead. First thought is that a cougar? But it's a deer running away from me. So this is the ravine of the creek that the former trestle crossed. Now a culvert and fill, and just hugging the side of the slope here. The time is 6:48 a.m. and the view is lovely. Sunny skies, bit of cloud, I got some blue sky up above, like that. And I'm coming up soon to mile 24. And here is the sign. It wasn't too far around the corner, closer than I had thought. I've got the sun right behind me. I'm going to come back right towards it. It'll be higher up, but still, I'll get warm. Okay, coming up to the next trestle diversion from 1971. Again, if I went straight, I'd be on the pre-1971 track, crossing a timber frame trestle over the ravine. And instead, I'm going to curve to the right on the revised route. But now I do see the rock cut. Straight ahead through those trees is a rock bluff, which means that on this side of it would have been the original line going through there. And as you can see, it's just all overgrown. So that is not an exploration for the month of June. That's something to do maybe in February or March. Here you can walk up the slope and see okay, so I'm in the curve of the diversion line. Let's go in through here and see what the gully view is like. 50 years of trees tells me it's not going to be too great. So what I'm walking on would have been just the original, I don't know, edge of the slope. And then down there, yeah, is the gully. So not too exciting, not much to see up here. I figure I'm in the middle of the gully diversion for the mile 24.4 trestle site. That's looking east. You can see the curve there. And a curve here, so I'm right in the curve. Here's the west approach to mile 24.4 trestle site. Current track, obviously, curving off. And just straight through where the sun is lighting up the mossy cliff is the old grade. There's the utility lines that come up Lacy Lake Road, which tells me I'm just about to meet Lacy Lake Road and the site of the Stokes siding. And here I can follow the road beside the tracks, and it's just a nice straight stretch. This is pretty. Coming up to an area that's popular with day hikers, bikers, ATVers, and probably some boondock camping. There's Lacy Lake Road through there. I'll just continue here. Right beside where the siding used to be. So the actual Lacy Lake Road is through those woods there, going up the slope. So I think the little road beside me here is just the remnant from the old siding, Stokes siding. That's just my theory. 51% of the time, I'm wrong every time. Okay, the intersection of the E&N Railway and Lacy Lake Road. A busy place for hikers on a weekend day like today, although none yet, or none just at this moment. Okay, this is where the brushing work ended, the work that was being done in January, February of 2021. So I'm back to encroaching broom and saplings, and of course the ever-growing trees and the grass. I'll be careful with the broom. Here's where one of the popular trails crosses the ENN. Goes up there. That might be how people get to the lookout. Coming there connects to Lacy Lake Road, where I just was. Yeah, lookout. Okay, so I'm going to my own lookout, which is just above the trestle. But first, into the Island Corridor jungle. I'm reminded of the words of Axl Rose, where he welcomes me to the jungle. Yeah, just a little bit of growth. This is how the whole subdivision was before the last 6 months ago. As I carefully sidestep the weeds. And here's the part of the track that's not yet undermined. Good. But awfully close. Awfully close to being undermined. Okay, move on to the mile 25 trestle. Okay, I have not had to play the game of dodge the broom plants for a while on this Port Alberni subdivision. Carefully. Check myself for ticks afterwards. That's always a thrill. Here we come to the mile 25 trestle, guarded by these trees. I love walking where legends have been. Mr. Wilkie was also up on the slope, the mossy slope up there, capturing trains on here those days when an ENN Dayliner would do a special excursion on a Sunday up here. Yeah, I'm thankful for photos from those trips. Okay, now to cross the trestle. Okay, looking railway east, railway west. Two-camera video is always fun, but it's a lot of editing, but I think it's worth it. Let me show you in vertical mode here, wide angle, what this is like. So I'll bring it down like this. Walk across. This trestle deck is in poor shape. It would be a whole lot worse off if there was a lot more recreational traffic, like ATVs, motorbikes, side-by-sides, chewing it up. Not that there isn't here, but it's just not to the same extent, perhaps, as happened at Cameron Lake. But this one's on its way in terms of the ties. At the far end of the trestle is a nice little creek, which I'm assuming is going to be dry. I love this time of morning, and I'm very thankful for the lack of direct sun on this trestle right now. Over 2 hours after sunrise, so I'm thankful for some good photography light. I'm going to spend some time up on the rocks, just enjoying the view. But first, back to the other end to retrieve my camera and backpack. Let's walk back, I'll show you this nice view. Five refuge bay fire barrel platform holders. All 5 of them are amazingly still up. I say that because more and more they're falling off the other trestles. Just in the last 2 years that I've been observing them, they were all past their best before date. A lovely side view here, looking up David Wilkie's slope, and with the sun crowning the tree. Nice. Sun is coming over the slope, so I am working my camera and enjoying the loveliness of the sun. Narrow aperture, making a sunburst effect. This is one of those unexpected things. Thought I'd be cursing the sun, and I'm enjoying it at the moment. Now it's time to decide what to do, and I think the opportunity is to go up on the rock on the left, set up my camera for video, and shoot video of the sun bathing the trestle going from shadow to sun, and then speed it up on my computer, create an interesting trestle wake up time lapse. No harm in trying, and I enjoy experimenting with these ideas to see if they work out. Worst case is I've just been sitting in a beautiful viewpoint looking at a lovely trestle in the morning, relaxing, and that's good. I enjoy this viewpoint. Got my favorite spot further up here where I can sit on the rocks. Okay, maybe not as favorite with the tree. Yeah, okay. I think I go back down where I came. First little bit of rock. But here's the view here. Here's my time lapse in action. Okay, I don't think this time lapse is as dramatic as I thought it would be. I thought the sun was going to bathe down on the trestle, so this is it. And I go back up to my rest spot. Oh yeah, the part where I figure out how to hold the camera and show the trestle at the same time on here at the mile 25 trestle. Lovely. Oh yeah, one of my favorite spots on Vancouver Island is looking down here at mile 25 at the railway. Just the colors on those ties. It's really beautiful. Okay, I finished my break here. And time to head on off this little rock bluff. Start my inbound leg of my journey. Back to Loon Lake Road. Okay. Climbing on down is easier than it looks from here. Just right down through there. I think this platform is the next one to fall. First one from here, but the next one on the trestles I monitor. Yeah, it's a couple of the support ties that are looking pretty poor, sagging already. And the platform I'm on now has the remnants of the mileboard sign right there. Used to say 25. Where you used to be able to see it out on the edge. I can hear the motorbikes, the ATVs of the Alberni Valley already on the various trails below here. Must be Sunday morning. Okay, time to head back towards Lacy Lake Road. Okay, bye-bye to mile 25 trestle until the next time. And now let's head railway eastward. Through the broom jungle part of today's hike. And this is why I'm not continuing any further westward today. I'm going to wait until autumn for that, when there's less of a tick risk from the broom. And here's the place where the erosion landslide almost undermines the track. Here's the perilous spot. Right there is the edge. And this is where the east switch of Stokes siding used to be, roughly. As I continue east, leaving Lacy Lake Road behind. A lot of my return leg is going to be facing the sun like this, with this kind of shadow and bright light. So, not a whole lot of video, I don't think, just landmarks, and then I'll be done. around mile 24.3 or something like that. Today, Sunday, June 20th, is important for a couple reasons. One, this evening is the solstice, 8:32 p.m. Pacific time, where I am. Is changing from spring to summer. I like to be aware of solstices and the equinoxes and just note them. I love seasons. I love the calendar. Just that's how my brain is orientated. And so important days like today in the celestial calendar are important for me. Today is also Father's Day. Probably a greeting card company invented that over 100 years ago, and the Western world kind of celebrates that. And for me, this will be the 7th Father's Day since my father passed away. So I think of him today, and especially on a day like today, because the things that I enjoy doing, planning a trip or a hike, looking at maps and charts, figuring out distances, looking at photos, figuring out areas for my route, and then enjoying the photography of it. I get that all from him. He sparked that in me. He was into all of that. And so, when I'm doing this, besides thoroughly enjoying myself, I'm honoring him. He had his Pentax camera shooting black and white film, and then his dark room in the basement. It was fun to watch him work in the dark room. I mean, it was the Photoshop Lightroom of the day, where once you've got your negative, play with the enlarger and play with the exposure and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of do the same thing at the computer desk. The only thing I don't have is the intoxicating smell of the developer, stop, and fixer solutions. All bought from Hilton Photo Supply in Chemainus, BC. No longer there. Mile 24. This rock cut where the line bypassed the mile 23.9 trestle is one of my favorite spots on this hike. Right now it's my favorite because of the shade, but that's going to end in a few moments. This view of Mount Arrowsmith opens up on a clear day. Now we're back to a lovely shade interlude, just briefly, but I am enjoying it. I'm around mile 23.5 here. Still moving eastward in the shade now. Here comes the mile 23 marker. Back in the 2000s, I did an ultramarathon walk called the Great Lake Walk partway around Cowichan Lake, 56 kilometers. I did it 7 years in a row, and it's one of those pledge walks that first few years had 500 or 600 people, and then the last couple years I did it, maybe it was like 300 people or so. Anyway, kilometer markers were always motivational. I'm finding the same thing with mileposts. Although I'm not going anywhere near 56K, it's more like 10K today, but motivation is the same.